So recently I passed 200k in funding and I requested 3 payouts. In this video we're going to be talking about some tips and also showing you a trade which I took that got me out of drawdown and passed me the account. So I was in drawdown on both of these accounts, and that's a normal thing. Drawdown is a part of trading, but I'm going to break down one of the trades that I took to pass one of the funded accounts right now. So here's the trading view perspective on the trade. As you can see, we ran much higher, but we don't need to catch the whole move. I just needed to catch my part of it. My TP was at the break of the previous daily high, which is this wick right here. What I did is I anticipated that the daily was going to be bullish because we closed making a support. I was anticipating where this current daily candle is going to make that bottom wick. So I went to the 1 hour. I found this demand zone where we cause a break of structure. I put my buy limit order. I didn't want to be too specific because I was doing it overnight, and so I just put my buy limit order in, put my stop loss at the bottom of this structure, and then a TP was the break of the previous daily high, which we also obviously pushed much higher, and that was what got us out of drawdown and passed us the phase 2 100k account. So that is an example of one of my higher risk reward setups. I have two types where I have a lower risk reward setup and a higher risk reward setup, depending on how the market shows and presents itself to me, is depending on which one I'm going to take first. And that happened to be the one that got me out of drawdown and passed me the account on that challenge specifically. But the main thing is not that. It's the fact that I managed to stay focused, stay disciplined, and not give up on the account just because it's in drawdown, because I've been here before, and this is something I'm trying to teach to you because you can learn from my experience so you don't make some of the mistakes that I've made yourself. I used to go and give up on accounts when I was in major drawdown, but remember this. If you can build through drawdown into profit by not over risking and risking the same amount that got you into drawdown, if not less, to get you back into profit, that skill right there of you doing that is going to be the best for you in the long run. That's going to take multiple good habits that you will keep with you to build for the future. Now you got to ask yourself this question: do you want to be here for the short term or the long term? If you want to be here for the long term and make money for the rest of your life with this, you've got to not leave things covered, and you've got to be able to do the skill of getting out of drawdown. That's one tip right there. Tip number 2 is to not skip steps. For example, you should find the numbers boring with the account size. And what I mean is by this, I started when I was doing like 20-30k accounts because that was to me the amount of funding that I'm not too emotional about, and it's not too little for me that I won't make any money. Now I eventually passed these fundeds and got used to the numbers, to doing 1 to 2%, for example, on those accounts, $200 to $400. Once I got used to the numbers, it didn't get me emotional now, seeing it in drawdown, seeing it go halfway to the TP, and I'm waiting for TP because of the logic behind the setup. And these things are good. Now, what you do is then you get bored, which is good. Now you incrementally build up to the next account, maybe 50k. You take some adjusting to get used to those numbers. 100k, take some adjusting to those numbers. 200k, 300k, etc. Right? Now that is good for you because you're not skipping steps and you're building your mental discipline for those numbers. People say that you can go, if you know the skill of trading a £100 account, 1k account, you can do a mil. You can't, because you have to do the mental edge as much as it is the technical edge. And that comes over time with experience to those numbers and exposure to them. That's a personal preference of mine, personal tip from mine, so it can hopefully help you guys too. Now tip number 3. This is the tip that allowed me to get consistent payouts. So now you've got a live account, you want to know how to get consistent payouts. Aim for lower hanging objectives. And what I mean by this is, say you've got a break of structure, you're waiting for the higher low, you enter. Now you could aim for some higher target, but if it's your first account or you've only got 1 or 2 accounts, aim for the lower hanging objectives. Get maybe 1 or 1%, 0.5%. Then secure that, hold off on the account, get a payout, and go buy a challenge and do that in the meanwhile while you're waiting for your payout. That will allow you to keep getting these lower hanging objectives, but you're not trying to impress people with a massive payout, but you're gonna be getting them a lot. And at the end of the day, it matters about how much you're going to have in your bank account, and that's going to add up over time. It's underrated going for lower hanging objectives, 1 to 2%, securing the payout, 1 to 2% securing the payout. Because if you think about it mathematically, if you've got a 10% or 12% drawdown, funded peaks offers 12% drawdown, then you can have a higher probability chance to always be hitting that 1 to 2% mark and getting the payout. Now, obviously, with prop firms, there's so many of them nowadays. You don't know who to trust. I can personally vouch right now in the moment for Funded Peaks. They have done amazing conditions and allowed me to trade and given me payouts very quickly. One of them I got, I think, within a day. So it's amazing to see that. And you can get your account below in the description. That is the one I recommend for now, if you don't want to go for FTMO because of the higher fees. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value from it. That's the main thing I always try and do in this channel. If you want to see more value, you can follow my Twitter. I always drop gems on there. And if you want to be updated with my life, you can follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay disciplined, and I'll see you there.